I think there's no point investing until you have built very strong product portfolio, very strong following. Most of the failures I've seen are related to dying of success, right? Being an entrepreneur is more about the idea and the passion of starting a store. But at some point, you need to start to become more of the businessman, right? You create the idea and then you scale it and you put the process around it. And I have no doubt this will be the biggest business in the Philippines. So you have more daily active users on Lazada than all the malls in the country combined, right? It's a nascent industry when you look at other countries like China this year. Of course, also because offline went down slightly, but they reach more than 50% of the transactions happen online.
For people who are starting, should they focus on just a few products or try a lot already and then see, oh, there might be one here out of the 30 that I start that will be very, very good? What's an ideal practice that will be beneficial for people who are starting?
There are two ways to be successful. Number one is you differentiate yourself through generally being a category expert, right? Most of our great stores are people that love a certain category. They're pet lovers, they set up a pet store. They're into fashion, they set up a fashion store. Not even fashion, they're into jewelry, they're into dresses, they're into women's shoes. They're very, very committed and they develop certain expertise. I think in the world we live today, specialization is everything. You can be the world, best pet soap supplier. That's a fantastic market and you'll be very successful, right? So I really believe in category-specific stores with very, very curated approach, very good understanding, right? Now that said, sky's the limit, right? You can go very broad. You can be a pet expert and then try to bring all types of pet items, right? The challenge there is you will be competing with Pet Express. You'll be competing, right? So you can be extremely successful, but I think it's very important to specialize and focus on something, right? Some people try to have very broad stores, cross categories, different items, and they differentiate by having very good customer experience, adding some freebies, having lower prices. I think that's definitely possible. But the way I look at it, right, there's such a strong demand for unique stories. People love to, I would say, to vote with their wallet. People love to sponsor good causes. They love to buy from this great Filipino entrepreneur. There's a huge demand for local brands, for local concepts, and they like to buy stories, right? They like to buy specific things, and they love to spend on, someone they can relate to, someone they actually like. We have thousands of sellers. We even just awarded our top female sellers last week together with Women's Day, and we had our own Women's Festival. There's this fantastic Georgiana, this fantastic pet expert, and she has a beautiful pet store. And people love buying from her because they know who she is, they know what she stands for. I would say it's similar to a lot of local brands like Colorate, Happy Skin. This is like I would say it's almost like the entrepreneur and the store collide, right? They're one of the same, like they're all together because you're buying the story. And people really want to buy those concepts. All the international brands are doing great, but more and more people are turning their attention into the communities. And that's really our vision. We want to build communities. We want to get sellers to grow and to express themselves and to create a positive impact in their community, right? It's a beautiful story when you look at all these brands. They have great marketing people, strong Filipinos. They have amazing product designers, Filipinos. That's creating the grassroots and the talent pool that's going to change the way the Philippines works and the way entrepreneurship and businesses are growing today, right? So I think that's kind of the main message. You can do many different things, but my advice is be passionate about something and go very deep into something, because Lazada gives you an entry point to 50 million people that are browsing for things, and you can't even imagine how big you can be by being the gold medalist in that specific category, right?
And I think that's what I like about Lazada. Since it's a marketplace, people have an intention already to search, and Lazada promotes certain items that are based on people's interest. That being said, also for people who are just starting out, should they focus also on spending for ads, given that the ones that are more established, I think, are the ones that are being pushed up also, that are seen more? Or should they just play it slow, build traction up until they're the ones that are easily recognized also in the platform?
That's a very good question. The way I look at it, right? And again, I would love to say spend on ads, let's work together. We're still losing money, right? So I think we're always very upfront about this. We're investing in the market. We're trying to grow. We subsidize the logistics cost. We give very good rates anywhere in the Philippines just to build customers. So we're not really trying to make money. We're trying to build the market, right? And I think investing is great, but when I look at the priorities and the funnel, right, investing is great at a later stage. Once you have all your fundamentals figured out and your basics are correct, right? For example, I think there's no point investing until you have built very strong product portfolio, very strong following, until you have really figured out where you want to play. You have some ratings and reviews and people know your products. That's the time to invest, right? We always tell people, first engage. Join campaigns, join flash sales, try to use the tools, create maybe a social media account where you start to build your community. Make sure that things are working and that you have the right foundation. Because otherwise, getting a 30 times uplift because you invest, getting the sales of 1 month in 1 morning when you invest, maybe you're not prepared, maybe the product is not so good, people return it, and then you're in a difficult position, right? So we always advise people, feel comfortable, grow, learn the business, and then you invest, right?
We talked about the ones that have been successful, the things that you believe will make sellers successful. I want to deep dive also on, based on your experience, the ones that did not make it, the ones that really did not have good sales. What were the things that they did or they did not do also, so that those who are watching this would avoid doing those practices as well? And any insight on that?
Same as any other type of business, people tend to be a bit emotional or irrational at times, right? We really need good business people. It's easier to build a brand or easier to build a following than it is to run it and to scale it and to run a business, right? Most of the failures I've seen are related to dying of success, right? It's someone that does so well that then they don't control their prices, they don't look at their margins, they don't set up the right logistics, or they don't outsource their logistics, they don't have the right customer support. And I think that's where we really work hand in hand, right? We work very closely with entrepreneurs, because for you to be a sustainable, strong e-commerce player in the long term, you need to be very good at customer service, very good at logistics, very good at driving the right performance, offering consistent service, product quality. So I think same way we were describing about marketing, right? One of the critical skill sets of every entrepreneur today, every e-commerce seller, is consistency. Focusing on the pillars, on logistics, on customer. Once you sell, the after sale is very important. You need to figure out the voice of your company and how to constantly create that impression, support your customers, and really handhold. It will be very, very bad from a seller, even from a customer perspective, right? To grow quickly and then to start seeing those negative reviews, people feeling, oh, the product has gone down, the quality is not the same that it used to, or when I reach out, they don't really help me. It's very hard, right? And that's really what we want to avoid as a company. We focus a lot on the seller rating, on trust. We drive more traffic towards those that have proven that they can run a good business, that they can really support, that they are actually able to create consistent experiences. And I think that's my number one piece of advice, right? When you're doing well, when you're scaling your process, you need to hire professionals, or you need to build the right support system, right? And it's always hard. A lot of times, being an entrepreneur is more about the idea and the passion of starting a store. But at some point, you need to start to become more of the businessman, right? You create the idea and then you scale it and you put the process around it. I think that's really, really important for online.
Sometimes they're not sleeping already because of the number of transactions, and then there's also a point where the quality of how they would produce the product is not as good as well, or even at a customer service standpoint. I guess my question is this: in your experience, and for those who are watching this that are starting to do well, at what point in transactions or sales should they start already hiring more people, that it's not anymore just a one-man show or a one family show already? Is there a point where, okay, this is good enough already that to scale it, it doesn't have to be me anymore?
I don't have the perfect answer, right? But I have check and balances. In general, at Lazada, we try to be very analytical. We don't have very strong positions. We have very clear principles, and then we look at the numbers and we iterate, right? What I would say, it's a serious seller, and the process that I look at is always, what's the average salary, right? If you're selling, and what are your margins, right? So, for example, normally the threshold for a serious seller is $1,000 a month, right? Someone that's selling 50,000 peso. Why? Well, because that's 3-4 times the average salary. That's already a decent income. That already means that you're getting a good volume of sales, right? Depends on the category. For some categories, you may need a bit more if it's electronics, but in general, there's something there. Customers are liking it. There's a good opportunity. And depends on your margins, right? But at that salary, you're probably already making some money, and it starts to become reasonable to invest a bit more, to professionalize, to hire someone, basically to invest, because you're already seeing that this is promising, right? So that's kind of the first. We have tens of thousands of sellers doing this, $1,000 a month. And the thinking is, if I'm doing $1,000 a month today, 50,000 pesos, if I invest, I can do much more, right? So that's what we will call a serious seller. And again, out of these tens of thousands, what we look at their progression. Even if you're making 50,000 pesos a month today, if the market is growing almost doubling every year, if I invest a bit more, I do a bit better, and I ride on the market growth, I'll be doing 150 to 100,000 pesos in no time, right? In just a few months. So that's how I look at it. Again, the market is maturing, so even in terms of fundraising, it was so hard to find funding before. It was hard to get money, to borrow, to get financing. It was like, oh, that online thing is very difficult. I don't know how to look at it. Today, it's the other way around, right? What we see from a lot of our financing partners, the banks, etc., is like, wait, I don't want to give that much money at that business because they're very offline focused. But these other guys that have low cost base, they're doing online, and that online is going well, I'm willing to take even more of a risk and to give them more funding, right? Some of them are even borrowing 6, 7, 8 times their sales, because banks are a bit more lenient, a bit more supportive. There are a lot of financing partners and institutions that are willing to take that risk. So I find that quite exciting, and I honestly think that this is exactly what's happening in the other markets, right? That's, if you go to the US today, there's a whole industry around buying and selling online businesses, giving financing and better financing terms for online businesses. So I think it's very important to invest. It's becoming easier to get access to financing. And when you're in the online space today, first, us at Lazada, we believe a lot in the ecosystem. We help you finding financing partners, support. There's a huge support system, trainings, Lazada University. But then the entire online community is very supportive. And I'm sure once they start to reach that 50,000 or even less, 40, 30,000 peso, they will leverage all the communities, all the learnings, and they will be able to scale their business.
Got it. I have a question, because I have a lot of friends still who have brick and mortar businesses that are a bit late into this transition. How do you suggest that they go about it? They just open a personal account and sell those items there, or directly go as a corporation already and sell it in equal footing as their brick and mortar brand or business?
That's not a problem, right? So when you sign up online, there are two basic ways. You either do it through a personal account, where we allow you to sell up to 3 million pesos a year. You just set up your account and you start to upload items, and then we will help you becoming a registered business and basically transferring that into a corporate account. So same as I was saying, right? In general, if you have a decent sales volume, you have a corporation, better to just use the same corporation, the same brand. But if you want to do something different, we also encourage everyone. create a personal account, start selling, start testing, and if it goes very well, you can always transition and migrate, right?
For those who want to start already, I know you have Lazada University. I'll put the link also below for those who want to enter Lazada. But anything else that they would need to know for those who want to sell, and then anything that you think will be exciting for 2021 that can, at least for those who are entering, this could be a focus or a product or a category that they could at least study for the rest of the year.
I personally think that Lazada University has a lot of the resources that they need. A lot of the trainings, a lot of the materials. I also encourage them to join a lot of our live stream sessions. We do constant live stream both within Seller Center app and social media to train, to educate. It's very good to join certain groups, to join selling communities. There are a lot of Facebook groups to crowdsource the learnings and to work with each other, right? The way I look at it, all the materials are there, and that's the beauty of the internet, right? There are so many different things, but nothing beats experimentation. So we want to encourage them to try. We have account managers that will call them, that will follow up, that will constantly guide them. And that's how we see the market, right? We want everyone to try, and then we also support them. We send constant communications, a lot of engagement activities and details. We send a lot of follow-ups. Hello, dear seller, your promotion was very good. Change this threshold or add these items. A lot of customers are searching for these type of products. Why don't you add them? We are always helping them, right? But there's nothing better than trying and being aggressive and, growing with us. I think that's really, really important.
To succeed in a lot of things also, it requires hard work. It's not, people always see people who've made a lot of money in this space, but you always have to realize that that person also took the time to study and research and actually do it as well. So I believe that e-commerce is the future. I believe Lazada is way right smack in the middle of all of that. And if you think that you have the time, you have the opportunity also to be able to sell what you have, then try it, do your research, do your due diligence, and then as what Carlos said, execute. Nothing beats execution, and nothing beats practitionership in growing in this particular space. Any final words for people as we put this interview to a close?
No, nothing really. I just want to encourage everyone to go online. I think, again, like you always say, the best time to start was yesterday. Second best time is today. It's very, very easy. Don't get intimidated. Just try your luck. It's pretty much like a game. It's actually fun. It's exciting to play with the app, to see the trends, the recommendations. And, even if you just want a small side income, it's never been easier. It's for free, nationwide, requires no time. Just with a bit of trial and error, you'll be able to get some sales. It's a great community. It's exciting. You make friends. You learn a lot from others. And it's very inspiring. I talk to sellers every day, and I learn so much from them. And honestly, this business is here to stay. For the next 30, 40, 50 years, this will be the way of doing business. So the earlier you learn, the more of a pioneer that you become, the better you'll do. And it's just such an early stage that all of you have this opportunity to differentiate. And I have no doubt this will be the biggest business in the Philippines, the biggest industry, and all of you will be able to build great businesses if you really commit to it.
Yep, and just to double down on what Carlos said, when people say that there's no opportunity, this is already your opportunity. Everything right here, right now is from your phone, off the internet. And if people realize that there's so much opportunity, you would not be trying to figure out, you would not be looking at the problems, because you will have so much on your plate already to grow what's in your hand already. So yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carlos, for joining us. Again, for those who want to know more about Lazada, want to sell in Lazada, want to transact in Lazada, I'll put the link in the description below. And then I hope that your 2021 will be an even bigger and better year, that as you start to bounce back, you can use e-commerce to help your money grow as well. So thank you so much, Carlos Barrera, for joining us, and to everyone in Lazada, and to all of you guys. I hope you enjoyed the series. By the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment section below, and then we'll see if we can do another round of this, or we'll answer your questions directly from the comment section as well. So that's it for now. Marvin Gurmo, I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.